How's it going? Welcome back, my wonderful wise ones, to a fantastic video today because I get to talk about Fallout, and if I get to talk about Fallout, I remain mostly sane because it's just something that I love so much. It's something I'm highly passionate about, and Fallout finally is kind of getting the love it deserves once again. It's not getting the proper treatment, okay? It's not being wined and dined as it should be.
What about the past? Our past?
We never really shared one.
You're inhuman.
No, I'm in touch with humanity. Evelyn, I'm sorry. You're not terribly important to me.
Oh no!
The new Fallout TV show is set to drop very shortly, and today I thought I would take a look back at Fallout 76 and give you a Fallout 76 2025 review. And basically just look at what is the future of this game, what is the future of Fallout and Bethesda. I will be covering a lot of the Fallout games closer to release of the new show, and I've got a big Fallout video in the works. So today, Fallout 76 in 2025. That's what I want to discuss, what's actually happening with this, and what the game is today, and if it's actually worth it. I'm going to give you my brutal, honest opinions, and I'm sure you've heard plenty of YouTubers say, I'm brutally honest, and I'm brutally paid to be a shill. But, honestly, I just want to tell you what I think about this game from a Fallout perspective. I will talk about it objectively to begin with, and then give you some of my own subjective takes, because I'll just be honest with you, it's not the Fallout game I want, it's not the Fallout game I like to play, but it is the Fallout game that is, alive. But it sadly is the only Fallout game that is still alive, that is actually getting content added to it, and I will be talking about that new content today, and everything that's just changed with this game over the last year.
This is where the fun begins.
So I do hope you enjoy this video, my wise ones. If you are new, consider subscribing, joining the channel. It does mean absolutely everything to me. I've done nothing for the last 5 years except obsess over YouTube primarily, trying to, make this channel a reality. And with your support, I think, we are getting close. I'm very proud of the community that we've built now, the wise ones. And if you love gaming analysis, deep video essays, early reviews, yearly reviews, and philosophical content, you're in the right place. Subscribe and become a wise one today. And like the video, because YouTube likes to waste all my hard work and time and bury my videos. So much has changed with Fallout 76, so many updates along the way. It's almost become, like No Man's Sky with its redemption arc, if you like the base gameplay of Fallout 76. Originally. That's what I'm going to discuss first. What is this game? What's changed about it? Then I'll get into, why I love the series and why Fallout 76 will never be exactly what some of us want.
Okie dokie.
But honestly, this is a fun multiplayer game. I myself have, enjoyed my time with it. It's not something I want to sink, my main dedicated time into. I would much rather play a proper Fallout game with, RPG choices and, karma systems and reputation systems and, stuff I love about the Fallout series, getting to know the factions, their philosophy, and navigating those dark and morally grey situations. But Fallout 76 Fallout 76, like I said, has come a long way. So now we've actually got NPCs. That was one of the biggest updates ever. Adding actual NPCs into the world. Obviously, being a multiplayer game, some of them you can actually interact with, but a lot of them you can't actually interact with, and they are simple, quest givers and immortal, because Bethesda loved to make things immortal, just like Todd Howard. But it does feel much more like a Fallout game. When you go out there into the world, there are actual things to discover, NPCs to come across, get quests and stuff like that. The world itself is also very interesting. The map, it's very big, but also there's, a lot of variation, much more variation compared to, the previous Fallout games with its biomes and stuff like that. They've updated things simply just to make it much more smooth and have a quality of life. Like now you can actually trade with other players. There's actual towns and stuff that can be set up in this multiplayer game. That's how it always should have been, where you can actually trade with other players. Hub towns, this new massive update, which is apparently the biggest one in Fallout 76's history, is going to add a whole new player hub town.
What?
And the Rust King and stuff like that. And there's new gameplay changes, like getting bounties from the ghoul himself, completing these little kind of mini boss gauntlets and stuff like that, which should be quite interesting. But some of them, it does feel just like, you know, remember this? Remember the Fallout IP? And it kind of feels more like a theme park ride of, you know, what Fallout was instead of what Fallout is, if that makes any sense. Like, you know, you will fight the Mechanist and stuff like that. A lot of times I feel like 76 technically doesn't really care much about the Fallout lore, and I'm not one of those people who is super lore obsessed with any media, you know, because we can all have our own different perspectives on everything, and, you know, at the end of the day, it's all just shared creativity. But Fallout has such a unique and special history, and I really want to see that being developed. That's what I love about the TV show, and at times 76 just feels like, you know, like I said, like a gallery of Fallout ideas, instead of actually being its own unique thing. If you're like me and you absolutely love Fallout, then go check out today's sponsor, Xmod, because this will just help make Fallout 10 times better, much more easier to use compared to other mods and, you know, mod managers and stuff like that. Xmod allows for trainers and built-in mods, and it's simply a great way to customize your personal experience with Xmod. Xmod is a platform that unlocks thousands of free cheats, mods, and trainers for your favorite single-player PC games. Now, I've always felt that games are like a canvas, and mods are the paintbrush. They basically allow you to create your own unique experience, and that's why I love modding so much. Now, the main features of Xmod is it supports over 5,000 PC games, from massive AAA games to smaller indie titles. It works well with popular games like The Witcher 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, Cyberpunk 2077, or Skyrim or Fallout, you name it, it has you covered. With regular updates, it stays compatible with brand new games releasing day one. So Xmod is the best modding tool for anyone out there. Now, the cool thing about Xmod is you get day one access to trainers for the latest games. You just open up the app and it instantly shows you what you've got installed and all the available mods for that game. It's simple, it's well designed, and it even has a Discord community to help you out if you need it, and that's a huge benefit. As someone who's been modding Fallout for years, I've tried a bunch of different mod managers, and honestly, this is the smoothest and most powerful and beginner-friendly one that I've found, and I just find it so nice to use. So mostly I play Fallout, and this is the game I mod the most, so at times I just need quick access to toggle on these, you know, helpful little mods, and they give me a big boost, because sometimes Fallout can be a bit grindy. But not anymore, because now you can change things like unlimited bottle caps, which allows you to get higher gear. You can get unlimited weight, which is a huge factor if you're playing on a modded hardcore playthrough. I also find it super useful for creating content as well. If you are a content creator, you can turn things off like no radioactivity. This allows you to, you know, stay in, you know, radioactive zones, get the shots that you want, or just for gameplay reasons. So what are you waiting for? Get modding today by using Xmod. Link below in the description. Make sure you go check it out and enjoy the games at their full potential with Xmod. Now, I always felt that Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 felt like the least Fallout games, you know, thematically. It's not the same as New Vegas or the third one, or the original ones with its art style and themes. That's why I always mod them to be in line with 1 and 2 and New Vegas and stuff like that. But I will say that this new setting in Ohio feels like the most traditional Fallout, with its just atmosphere, its ambience, you know, getting like proper Fallout music back in this series again, and just the attention to detail in the environment feels the most Fallout that I've seen in a long while, and just a little bit more better when it comes to the exploration and stuff like that. And obviously this is, to hook in people, fans of the show that maybe aren't massively into Fallout, are kind of newcomers, or for people who, just want anything new to do with Fallout, to come back to the series. That's what this whole new area is targeting. And honestly, yes, it is a nice new area. There's a lot of more fun quests to do, and it does feel a lot more put together and deliberate in its design. But there's not like massive gameplay changes, apart from the new bounty missions and some other side quests and stuff like that, and more interesting NPCs to deal with. But it's not, of course, like they're turning this into a proper full Fallout RPG in this one area. Now, Fallout 76 in 2025 does truly feel different, and I'm sure this is going to continue with Fallout 76 in 2026 as well, as the show will still have a lot of hype around it. Then there's probably still gonna put a lot of work into Fallout 76, as that is going to be the main Fallout game. But honestly, it's kind of sad. I want to see something new. I want new Fallout stuff. And technically, this is what this is. But it's not the Fallout that I exactly want. It's not where I get the most satisfying lore or gameplay, even though it can be fun and there are interesting, challenges in this as well, and cool ideas. Okay, so let's talk about some of the other stuff they've updated over time. So another big thing that they've added to Fallout 76 in 2025 is, if you love base building in the fourth Fallout game, then luckily, this has become a hell of a lot better since release. Now you can actually just merge things together. So basically it's taking inspiration from some mods, and it just allows you to build more, freely, instead of it being all connected through it just works system, which it doesn't just work, by the way. The bosses and the raids in Fallout 76 are absolutely peak. I would say, some of the dungeons are better than, even Fallout 4. And it's just very satisfying when you all group up and you take down a big boss together. That's where it's a lot of fun. And there are now some choices to make. And of course, in a multiplayer setting, it's very black and white what you choose, path A, path B. But I do really appreciate that there is actual choices now within a Fallout game, which should have been there at the very beginning.
Okie dokie.
There are lots of side things that you get to do to soak in the atmosphere. Some of it doesn't exactly feel very Fallout, but it does make you appreciate being in this world even more, and just soaking in those kind of daily life things with your friends. Because, like I said, it is the only Fallout multiplayer game, but things like fishing and stuff like that. I don't know why the community is so friendly in 76, but it is very nice to see that. But in an apocalypse, it does kind of take away some of that dangerous atmosphere that the original games had, I would say. And PvP is basically not really a problem because you don't actually have to engage with it. And I understand, that's just for people who don't want to engage with it, but it does kind of take away some of that tension that you would get in something like DayZ or something, that would make it feel a lot more of a dangerous world to explore, in my opinion. And finally, things that they've updated over time is things like expeditions. They did this whole kind of Nuka theme one. They did the Pit, which is a callback to the Fallout 3 DLC. And, honestly, they are kind of glorified big dungeons, but going back to these locations is a lot of fun. The art style is still very much on point, and I do think that, the expeditions are some of the highlights of Fallout 76. But it really is going to be this big new area, I think, that most people are interested in, simply because it feels the most fleshed out and the most detailed. And there's going to be new quests and, gameplay changes as well, which I think a lot of people will enjoy. But overall, it just feels so much better in 2025. And I would say that it's a polished experience for the most part now, just running around, finding something, getting a quest, and actually completing that with a group of people. Even if it doesn't have the same weight to it and the same RPG choices, I still think that's why Fallout 76 is now a very popular game. And yeah, that's my main Fallout 76 2025 review segment. What I think about Fallout 76 in 2025. And honestly, if you're gonna ask me, is Fallout 76 in 2025 worth playing? I would say yes, because it is the only Fallout multiplayer game. So that is the main segment, for people who wanted to hear only the good stuff in this Fallout 76 2025 review.
This is where the fun begins.
So for people who only wanted to hear the good stuff about Fallout 76, in this Fallout 76 2025 review, there you go. I hope you're happy. But I do hope you can keep an open mind, coming from, and listen to some points coming from, someone who is very much passionate about the Fallout series and franchise. It's one of my all-time favorite things, entertainment-wise. So even though Fallout 76 in 2025 is a good game, it is basically kind of becoming a live service MMO light experience, similar to Destiny in some ways. And I never thought Fallout would become this. I love it for the deep RPG systems, even though it's not like the most complicated RPG out there. I love it for the, morality choices, the karma system, the reputation system. I love it because each NPC that you come across, usually in the older games, you could have deep conversations with them. You would actually have your conversations interact with your perks to shape your character, and every conversation would play out differently, and it would interact with the quest lines and change the whole, reaction of the world around you, and you would learn the different philosophies and ideologies that make all of these, groups think, and it would make the wasteland feel alive, and you would have to weigh up, difficult moral decisions and all that kind of stuff. But Fallout now is basically just a gallery shooter. There are some quests in 76 where you can, use conversations to actually get out of a situation or to end a quest in a certain way. But it all feels very limited compared to mainline Fallout, and I understand why, because this is, a mass appeal a game. And also it's difficult in a multiplayer setting. But I'm just going to list off some reasons why, even though now it's a good game compared to being a bad game on release, I'm not denying that, and I'm sure some people who don't have my perspective can enjoy it a lot if you love mostly the themes and the combat of Fallout only and just playing around with friends. If you're not aware, they did try and sneak in Battle Royale at some point, which just did not work, which I'm glad. But also, it's just things like having no karma system, really, not having a proper reputation system or anything like that, and tons of cosmetics, okay? I want to highlight that point because it all kind of started back with Skyrim, but that was a single-player game. You didn't actually have to pay attention to it. And it's happening a lot with just modern day games in general, multiplayer games like Call of Duty. They're all losing the aesthetic and the art style simply because of money. Now, Fallout 76 isn't as bad as that. You're not going to see cartoon character skins or anything like that, but you will see stuff that just doesn't make any sense within the context of Fallout lore or anything like that. But it doesn't matter because Bethesda want to make money. They want to, sell you as many items as possible.
Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
That just shows to me that Bethesda doesn't really truly care about the Fallout themes, its original ideas and, ideologies and stuff like that made it such a special series, more so about how they can capitalize on the IP. So of course I'm talking about things like the Atom Shop, which sell you a whole bunch of just slop player bases and, things that just don't make any sense. And maybe that's just my own autistic brain. It's a multiplayer game after all, and it's not going to bother a lot of you, but I just thought I would give you, this is my subjective opinions now, okay? Just to put that out there. I'm allowed to have my own opinions, so... The engine as well is old as hell. It's basically Fallout 4 but reskinned, so it does feel very dated at times. The combat doesn't feel amazing, even though they've added a lot of gameplay to it, and it is a lot better than what it was. It does start to feel very dated, technically, graphically, and everything. That's why I just want a new Fallout experience at this point. I will say that the bosses are cool, and working together as a team, and exploring the wasteland when you don't get distracted by anything, and you just find something cool to discover. That's when Fallout 76 is at its best, and it can feel immersive. I'm not really a big fan of the, kind of perks and how that's dealt with compared to, truly customizing your character and having it, interact with the gameplay itself. This is more just kind of buffs and debuffs and stuff like that. And yeah, there's things like having pets and all this kind of stuff. Just a lot of live service garbage, if I'm honest, that just doesn't belong in the Fallout series. But I understand that, you know, as a game, it's a good game. That's why I'm very, very conflicted on it, because if it wasn't Fallout, I probably wouldn't care, and I would still say, you know, it's a great game. And then finally, I just don't like the grindy nature of Fallout 76. It's not terrible, it's better than most multiplayer games, but there is still a lot of grind to this game. And, you know, compared to, like, you know, how you level up and how you get weapons in a traditional Fallout game to 76, I would say it's got slightly better over time, because now Fallout 76 in 2025 you can actually automatically leave the vault, and I think it's level 20 you can start at, so it does make it feel a little bit better, and the economy is better. But yeah, I just think it's a little bit grindy. But I do think overall Fallout 76 has become a much better game with its interactable elements and the NPCs, from the quests, from the exploration, from the new giant kind of DLC, if you will, update added with the new TV show of Fallout Season 2. It's gonna, you know, be probably the best it's ever been. And it's just kind of sad that all of the energy and attention that Fallout now has is going towards this. And I understand why people like it and love it, but it's just not my Fallout, but I do still recommend it. So it's a very conflicting feeling I have, but I can see why people enjoy this game. So there you go, my wise ones. That is Fallout 76 2025 review before the second season of the Fallout TV show comes out, just to give you a heads up on what it is and what it's going to be. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Drop a thanks, give a like, whatever it is you can do to support the channel. I appreciate it. Have a blessed day. Peace out.